there's a method to my madness here with this. Not that there's often a method to any form of madness, but this is my horoscope for today. It doesn't bode well for a guy that's in this business. It never does. The horoscope begins. Keep your opinions to yourself today.
What?
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
I was going to say, how do you do that?
Keep your opinions to yourself today, because if the powers that be, now this would have applied when we were working in, terrestrial structured radio with management that was all paranoid about their own position and really had no idea what you were doing on the air. That was the interesting thing about that business. It's like they didn't give a flying one what you did on the air. They would formulate a quick opinion about whether they liked your show or not, and if it was even remotely unconventional, they didn't like it right away. All right, so keep your opinions to yourself today, because if the powers that be consider what you say to be over the top or in poor taste, it could cost you dearly. Try to remember that not everyone shares your offbeat sense of humor, which is a shame. See, now, the gods of astrology have made amends there and said, you know what? They don't get you, but realize that, and you're a lot safer just saying nothing. So no Trump stuff today, all right? What were you doing with those documents, Tony Boy? I mean, what the hell was that?
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
And a very special good morning, everybody. Great to be with you on this fine Thursday edition of the program. It's Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge today. We will be joined by the great Dave Gurggles Gergely, who will be testing your knowledge of sports and your ability to put things together on the fly. Think on the fly. Think on your feet. Spin. Make adjustments. Be able to handle adversity. Compete at the highest levels. And that's going to be happening shortly here in the program. But before we get to that, and this is great, Mike Lubie's doing a dynamite job as a producer of the show. And it's kind of interesting because Lubie's always probing these various athletic departments to see if we can get head coaches on from various teams. Usually very cooperative when it comes to basketball, not so much on the gridiron. So he contacted, of course, before the season, FSU. I think you kind of waited on that one to see how it's going to go against Duquesne.
This week.
If they had lost that game, I think you would have, told the guy to lose your number. But University of Miami and of course, the University of Florida. Now, University of Florida has somewhat been a vast wasteland. I don't know if that's because I'm still on the list of enemies of the Gator Nation. I don't think so.
I don't know.
We sucked up to Mick Hubert for all of those years. I like Mick. And there was genuine admiration for the professionalism that he brought to the table as an announcer and, his acute knowledge of Gator football. I mean, you couldn't have gone to a better source, right? The guy had total recall of, much like Gene Deckeroff did with FSU. And so, it was always great having Mick on the show, and we kind of enjoyed it. And I'm glad we kind of repaired that relationship because that kind of dated back to Spurrier and stemmed all the way back to the Gator flop. And some of the Gator flack that I used to get being a host here in South Florida in the days when the Gators, prior to when they chickened out on their matchup every year with the University of Miami. Little did they know Miami was going to go in the tank after Larry Coker took over. They were going to go through a series of bozoic moves when it came to coaching hires, and they were going to be where they're at today. Just reveling in a victory over Bethune-Cookman because it's the start of something big. But neither the University of Florida or University of Miami has gotten back in touch with Mike Lubie. I think eventually we'll have their coaches on the show. Billy Napier seems like he would be an accessible guy and amenable to be doing an interview. And we know Mario Cristobal personally from his days here. It wasn't a problem to get him on the show when he was coaching at FIU. It really wasn't a problem. If you called FIU and said, hey, we'd like to have your coach on, they would say, he's right here right now. You want to talk to him? It was great. But we will be talking here in just a few minutes, maybe even before that, shortly, to Mike Norvell, the head coach of the Florida State Seminoles, who, without a doubt, pulled off the most unbelievable victory on the college football slate, certainly to begin the season. And I think this will hold up all year, maybe as the thriller in Manila finish. So we want to introduce this man we want to get him ready for what he's going to be facing here in this interview because he's got a lot on his plate here. Got a week off before he goes against Louisville, but still a 2-0 record, and got to get the kids back focused again after this huge victory. You don't want them getting too full up, or as Nick Saban would say, drinking the rat poison there. And I don't know that he operates in this fashion, but We're going to be talking here in a second to Mike Norvell, but a previous Lubie interview with an FSU coach now has reached a level of infamy here on the show, as it started out like this, a little bit rough.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I couldn't get your question.
You were a coach that you coached all kinds of teams. You had teams that.
Hey, say it in English. That got it?
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs, thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
All right, we just wanted to give you a warning, Mike Norvell, that you could be facing a need for a translator here in the program. The head coach of Florida State joins us here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubitz here at South Florida Live. Mike Norvell coming off one of the most thrilling victories that we've seen in the history of sport. Coach, how are you? Glad to have you on the program.
I appreciate you having me on, and it definitely was a wild one.
Wild one. I was thinking as I was getting ready to do the show here, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm thinking, geez, you look like an old man today because, I looked like I went 12 with Oscar De La Hoya. I was watching a tennis match last night. If you wanted to see like competitive fire coming to the forefront here, it ended up at 3 a.m. And I was thinking, in all my years of watching sports, and my memory goes back to like maybe being 5 years old, my earliest memories of watching sports, been doing it my whole life. I don't know that I've seen a finish quite like that. I mean, have you ever experienced anything close to that? I know that there are many wild finishes that take place in football games and, participation in other sports, but I don't know that I've ever seen anything quite like that. Give us your capsulization of what those final couple of minutes were like.
That's the great thing about football is, it always will find its way to be able to finish with the importance of one rep. And it's something that we talk to our players about all the time. You never know when that one play, that difference making play is going to show up. And it just happened to be on the very last snap there Sunday night. But, we talk about, letting your effort be a deciding factor in a game. And that was one thing that definitely showed up was the heart and the effort that our guys showed, even in times of adversity. Nobody wants to be in a situation where, you have a lead, there's mistakes that are made, things that happen. But ultimately, you still have the choice of how you're going to respond in that situation. LSU scored on their final offensive play, but they still had to kick the extra point. And when you watch the the desire that our guys had to go make that play and to see it, Shaim blocked the kick and it hit the upright, and when that occurred, it was an unreal experience, and just so proud of our guys for the effort they put in. And you get done with the game and you go back and look at it and you see all the areas of improvement that we can and will make as we're pushing forward throughout the course of the season. But it's definitely when you get to see that identity show up, it's something you're proud of as a coach.
It also represents a little bit of a karma turnaround as you're trying to get the culture going in the right direction there, because throughout history, and of course we covered a lot of University of Miami, Florida State games here in South Florida, those game-ending kicks have not necessarily gone the direction of Florida State in a favorable fashion. We remember Bobby Bowden, with just a look on his face of pure shock after a couple of missed field goals, wide right, wide left in big ball games. Now, after the LSU Tigers scored on that final play, did you have time to really think what was going on out there, right, when you sent the special teams out there? Because it was almost like the camera crew watching a game on TV was recording some of this mass chaos that was going on. And then all of a sudden, they slipped to a shot of the extra point attempt, and you see it being blocked. So what was going on the sidelines there? Because there was chaos before that with trying to figure out what the ruling should be when the LSU tight end was tackled in bounds.
Well, when they scored, it was immediately sent our field goal block team out, and I was just holding up one finger, one play, one opportunity, and our guys they took hold of it, and it's funny because it stemmed from an earlier blocked field goal that we had with Jared Verse, did an incredible job, and LSU overcompensated there on the extra point, making sure that they had him blocked, and it provided somebody else's opportunity, and you never know when your moment's going to be. You never know when you're going to have the chance to impact the game. And our guys were ready, and were able to finish the game just because of taking advantage of the chance that they had.
Coach, something Coach Bowden said a lot, and it's been brought up a lot during your tenure is: first you lose big, then you lose close, then you win close, then you win big. And we've seen that with you building this program back to greatness. It's sort of building slowly in that exact way. They lost big. Last year, you lost a lot of tough games. Now you go and win a tough game. You referenced it. Look, that game, you did have a big lead, and there was some mistakes made at the end that sort of tightened it up in a way no one wanted, especially us Knowles. How do you take that next step to close those games out? What are you trying to do to get in these kids' heads and the coaching staff's head to be where that game does not tighten up and you can win with a little bit more ease?
It's just the continued growth. It's making sure that with all situations that we're getting better, and it's players, coaches, everybody involved. I referenced yesterday, talking to some people that, I like learning lessons when you win a game.
Yeah.
And, as you sit there and we found a way to be successful. And, when you look at that game Sunday night, I mean, I thought we had a dominating performance, for 56 minutes of it. And, then there were some things that were done, mistakes that were made, in all aspects that, allowed that game to be a lot closer than it needed to be. And, that's where we have to continue to grow. And, I love the foundation that's been laid here. I mean, we have worked tirelessly, just to make sure that we're establishing the values, the culture, the work ethic. We have the right young men. I'm so grateful for the guys that I get to coach and seeing the investments that they're making. And now it's just about taking those continued, steps of growth in all phases. And when you embrace that journey, when you embrace those challenges and you're able to respond when adversity and now success, shows itself, you've got a chance to do something really special. And, I'm excited for the future and, really looking forward to seeing our guys, elevate their games and making sure that, we can close those games out, maybe a little bit less stressful.
Please.
Head coach of Florida State, Mike Norvell, with us here, coming off a big victory over LSU in New Orleans, where you might have also been under the influence of some voodoo and various curses, because you would think LSU would dominate, although a very nice representation there by the Florida State faithful who came out to the game and made us almost seem like it was even Steven there. I don't know if you felt that way, Coach, but really a good job by the fans coming out there and supporting the Florida State Seminoles. What were you facing? I mean, they always used the cliche, well, geez, so-and-so left the cupboard bare, and then I know that was said about Jimbo Fisher, and then Willie Taggart came in there, and the situation really kind of got even more exasperating and seemed to just get worse. He was quickly dismissed. What were some of the challenges you were facing? And did the landscape that you thought you were coming into kind of play out as you saw it, or were there challenges there that you didn't see?
I mean, anytime that there's, that much change and turnover, and you can talk about three head coaches in 4 years, and just I think there was 8 coordinators in a 5-year period of time, and there was a lot of change within the program. And so and it doesn't go back to there's one person or one situation. It's just change is hard for anyone, and we needed to be able to establish a foundation and set the consistent values of what this team was going to be moving forward, and really let guys and leaders emerge throughout trying to hit that standard. And that's one of the things that's been so fun to see this year is we now have players coaching players, because players they have an expectation of what our standard is. It's not just the coaching staff, it's now a team standard of how we're going to work, how we're going to operate, what we're going to do. And when you see that ownership in those values, it really helps bring along the newcomers. Your players are holding each other accountable, and just whenever there's that much change, it's the expectations are constantly changing. The communication, the language is constantly changing. And so players aren't able to really take ownership because they're still trying to figure it out themselves. And so that's one of the things that's been pleasing, is just to see the buy-in from our players, and just the growth that we've been able to have. I mean, and there's been some real challenges, like you mentioned. I mean, how we started off a season ago, starting off the season, I think we're 0-4, but watching players respond because they believed in what we were asking them to do. It's just we had to get better and more consistent at doing it. And it didn't mean it was perfect at the end of it, but there were still those lessons to be learned. And now it's about taking those lessons and applying the lessons as we move forward, and that's the part of the journey that we're in now, and you're really excited about what that holds for our future.
Coach, two of the biggest things right now with college football are the transfer portal and NIL. What's interesting to me is you came in and we talked to you a couple years ago, and you've attacked both. Literally, you got probably, it might have turned out to be the best transfer of all of them last year. As Jermaine Johnson comes from Georgia, getting barely any time, and being a top 3 defensive player in the country, a first round pick. This year, Jared Verse out of Albany was an FCS player that came on the scene and is literally playing as good as any defensive player in the country. Plus, NIL wise, you had one of the first collectives around where a lot of other schools have sort of slow played both NIL and transfer portal. You've attacked both with ferocity. Why was that, and how has it helped you sort of move along this growth process?
So, for us, we're looking for the right fit for Florida State, and we're trying to bring the biggest, strongest, fastest, best fit for our program that's gonna help guide us to where we want to go. And I think we've done a great job in the high school ranks and bringing some incredible newcomers that have been able to make an impact, as true freshmen and early in their career. And then we've also been able to do that within the transfer portal and find guys that, for whatever their previous experience was, if they fit what we were looking for. And we've been able to bring in great leaders, very talented, players, but, really great young men that want to be a part of this journey. And, seeing all that come together, it's really, that's one of my favorite parts of being a head coach is, building a team. And, we've got some guys that have played at an elite level. And, Jared, is a great story of how he was able to play, there on that showcase stage. I mean, he was remarkable. And we look forward to great days ahead. But, it's always about finding the right fit. And that's what we're going to continue to do.
How do you feel your philosophies and ideas fit in with the direction that college football is going, Coach Norvell? What we have now, the proposition of an expansion of the college football playoff, and of course, we're seeing all kinds of changes on the conference level and a little bit of uncertainty as to how all that's going to play out. In what way, if at all, does that impact the way that you're running the program at FSU? And what's your general thought about the direction the sport is taking?
For us, we're a part of an incredible institution, a storied tradition, we're focusing on the things that we can control and going out and being our best with every single opportunity and making sure we represent, the Florida State football program and our university the way it deserves to be represented. And, we're part of a great conference, that we have an unbelievable tradition and history with, and we're gonna continue to push and making sure that our program is growing the way that it needs to grow. But it is definitely a different time in college athletics, and for everybody that's involved, it's there's going to be some new steps and transitions, but ultimately my focus is on this team and what we're doing to improve and get better, and that's the work that we're putting in.
All right. Well, you're assuredly aware that the Florida State fans down here were delighted. Lubie, one of your better backers, predicted that you would be in this game with LSU. We had some of our handicappers that come on the show thought it was going to go the other way and not be such a comfortable result for the Seminoles. But I do have to ask you this, if you don't mind, and just one more thing, because the topic of conversation everywhere was this ball game. Everywhere I went, I had a couple of meetings and ran into some people at some social gatherings, and everybody's saying, hey, did you see that game, FSU and LSU? And the big question was, and I guess in hindsight, it might make it easier to answer, but if you went through that series of plays again at the goal line, would you ever put a lateral play in there again? Or did that just, it was a play that you thought would work that went haywire?
Well, I definitely wouldn't have called it if I didn't think it was going to work. But the risk reward was probably not the best decision at that time. And I got faith in our players, and ultimately, it's all things that we reflect. Like I said, players, coaches, everybody involved. You go back and see if where can you get better and what can you do. And ultimately, I'm glad that we were able to make the plays that were necessary to win the game, and we're going to continue to improve as we're moving forward.
All right, that's fair. Do you like the clock stoppage after first downs? Do you think? No, obviously in this case it was great for you, but bad for you. But do you in general like that rule to stop the clock after first down at the end of the game?
that's the way it's been. So we'll continue to roll with it. And,
Exactly.
All right, and congratulations again. I don't know that I've ever seen Brian Kelly. He looked like he needed a quart of blood after that muff punt, and then it got wild, even more haywire after that. Fantastic win. Good luck the rest of the way, Coach. Thanks so much for coming on the show with us. Really appreciate it, and we applaud the victory, and congratulations on getting off to this big 2-0 start.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and go Noles.
Go
All
Noles.
right, thanks so much.
Thanks.
He does end every interview with Go Noles. I like that. He did that when he was on the field there after this wild finish, man.
100%.
That came up a bunch of times, though. What is this, lateral play? He sounded like, he didn't palm it off on some offensive coordinator who was going to get fired this week. So that was good. But you would have to think.
He's talked about it, and he said, look, it wasn't the right play. Look, if you watch the replay, the guy's going to walk in for a touchdown. So It's not like the play design was a bad idea. Like, it was going to score if the guy had caught it. However, he just said, and I liked it, what he said was exactly what I've said. When people are like, oh, it wasn't a bad call, he would have scored. Yeah, but you didn't need it, right? Like, at some point in the game, you can pull back and go, all right, let's just do what we need. Like, he said the risk reward wasn't worth it. Bingo.
Yeah.
You just needed points there. You could have knelt. Honestly, make him use a timeout or run clock. Kick a field goal. 2 scores is 2 scores with 1:20 and no timeouts.
It would have been less than 1:20.
No, because they would have used a timeout. They had one timeout left. If they used the last drive, they would have used a timeout there, and they wouldn't let the clock melt down.
Possible, yeah. But it would have been a more compromising position to try and come back from. Plus, if they were down to 2 scores, I don't know that you necessarily, if you could waltz in for a touchdown, you would much prefer that than attempting a field goal because anything can happen.
Yes.
A field goal try. The likelihood is you're going to make it, go up 10 points, and the ball game's over, essentially. But the reality is we saw what happened when LSU was in a position to tie in a game. Very interesting job, though, because, if you look at the history of it, he goes 3-6 COVID-19 year, and everybody's thinking this guy just isn't fit for the job. He goes 5-7 last year, and now off to a 2-0 start. Now, he's done this before. He's turned the Memphis program around. They ended up going 12-1. His final season and going to the Cotton Bowl. I think he bolted before that Cotton Bowl game, so he might have been 11-1 with Memphis' his final season there. Was facing a lot of, many different, and you would think, imposing obstacles in that Jimbo. The cliche was applicable, was it not? Everybody always says, oh, yeah, well, he really left the cupboard bare.
He didn't leave the cupboard bare talent-wise. What he did was he got them in such terrible positioning with the grades that what we're seeing USC, Florida State do this year, some of the other programs, is build back through the transfer portal. Well, if your grades suck, it limits how many transfers you can get. So Willie Taggart couldn't get any transfers because he had to fix their grade situation. Like, they were about to get hammered by the NCAA before Jimbo left because he didn't give a shit about grades.
What was it, 0.0?
It was just really bad. No, they were like really bad. They were about to get hammered. So
when John Blutarski is the football, manager.
And then also Jimbo sucked at offensive line recruiting. So you saw their offensive line was abysmal his last 3 years, and they couldn't get transfers. So Norvell really has had to take on a lot, and it's taken. Look, what people did, and I was trying to tell Booty and Ken, they were focusing on the 0-4. I'm like, so you guys didn't see them last year because their last 8 games they were 5-3. The 3 losses were all on the road by 1 score. So it's like they were in it. They weren't that team that was 3-7 the year before. So I'm like, they are building. It's just not as quick as some of these other programs.
I think Florida State was probably underestimated. I didn't put much stock in that Duquesne game. I don't know that you could tell anything by that. Be like scrimmaging against the junior varsity. I think they were slightly, under-considered, and maybe LSU, the opinion of LSU was slightly inflated.
Yes.
In that ball game, and I think LSU did not play particularly well, and for most of the ball game, Florida State played great. So it was one of those deals where the team that you would think should deservedly be a bigger underdog somehow hung in there. Now the line makers, they were on top of it, right?
Yes.
They had this game as a close game, and it kind of stayed that way. So the bettors actually ended up looking pretty smart on that ball game. As LSU went off, what did they go off 3 and a hook? Eventually,
it was between 2 and a hook and 3. It depends before kickoff.
Yeah,
It weirdly came down.
And that's where it was. I mean, it boiled down to the final play. If LSU gets that extra point to take it into overtime, that they're either going to get, if you had 2.5, you have a chance at the win. You still could have lost the ball game, but nonetheless, I mean, you were in there with a shot, and it came down to the smallest of margins to decide the outcome. So very interesting right away. The line makers very much on top of that one, LSU and Florida State, even though they were on the wrong side. But, their effort is to try and get an equal number of people to bet on both teams. So it's not like they're picking sides. They're figuring, okay, if we give Florida State 3, we're going to even out the action here. And guess what we do? We make money on the juice.
Well, and a lot of us, even I, thought it would balloon. So you must have gotten action on both sides for it to never move. Like it stayed. So they did their job. They kept that line stayed there. Both parties were betting heavily. And look, FSU kept having a chance to blow it open, but in the end, LSU could have covered.
Oh, that's ridiculous, right? Those are the worst kind of beats if you're a degenerate gambler, when you were absolutely right about everything, right? It kind of gets into our Mayo bet on the hockey, where he was sort of right about what he was thinking, but he just had the timing a little bit off.
Yes.
And in this case, I mean, look, if you like the FSU in a game, you were right about everything, and you still could have lost, which is
that's what I was thinking.
Very unfortunate.
I've been right this whole game. Ken's going to cover.
Yeah, and the other guys end up getting paid, and you were the one that had the right, correct, just absolutely rational opinion on the game, and the other guy was a complete crackpot, and he ends up winning. That's the way it goes sometimes, right? Some guy comes running down the stairs there in the grandstand at the track and goes, I got the 6, I got the 6. That would be Jersey Kyle. He always has a 6. I got the 6, right? And the 6, you look on the board, he's 90-1, and you're thinking, how the hell did this schmenk come up with that? Blind luck. It happens, right? You had all of the perfect handicapping, theories in place there. We're looking at raggers and sheets and numbers and buyer speed figures, past performances and trainer jockey stats and ROI and all of this stuff. And you run 4th and 5th, non-menacing, right? While some 90-1 shot wins and this joker has it. I told you, man.
Screw you, asshole.
I love the green cap. Get the fuck out of here. All right, speaking of racing, Hialeah Park, the Trivia Challenge coming up. Dave Gurggles Gergely going to join us here. That was very nice, Mike Norvell. You know what? As you said, he's a straight shooter. He doesn't necessarily give you an answer that you go, wow, I mean, I know something new.
Gives you nothing.
But, I mean, what he's doing, at least for now, is working. And I think, it's to be applauded because if it sustains itself, now, their upcoming games don't look overwhelmingly challenging, although, they do have Miami and Florida still on the schedule, Clemson on the schedule. And, those games figure to be tough. But what do they have? Louisville got creamed by Syracuse, so how good could they be? Boston College, are they any good this year?
They struggled against, I'm trying to think. They've struggled. They haven't played so well at the gate. The one game that looked like it may be not a cinch, but easier was Wake Forest, was without their quarterback. Now they have him back, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and they're top 25. So that game is going to be tougher. But look, Florida State's outlook changes. People thought they could win 6-7 games. Now I thought they could win 8 or 9, and that's what it feels like. We'll see. I mean, look.
Is Wake Forest the quarterback that has like the 11th year senior who was hurt?
Oh, I don't know.
No? Okay.
He's been around. Hartman's been there a while. I don't know. I don't know if he's an 11th year senior.
He's older than the dean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like Winky. He's like 32.
Winky, yeah. That was a great one when Winky was playing for Florida State and he was in his 40s. He was on the same diet as Tom Brady.
Exactly.
Fantastic, yeah. Where's Winky coaching now? Wasn't he a quarterback coach somewhere?
He was.
Or wasn't he a head coach? Did he become a head coach at some
Well, he was
college?
head coach at IMG, but he's in college. He was also a quarterback coach for the Rams, but I think he's with either Georgia Tech or Tennessee as a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator.
All right, speaking of games, you got the Rams and the Bills tonight. NFL season kicks off. That's going to be great. Big Thursday night game. That U.S. Open last night, I'm telling you. I mean, if I look a little verklempt here, 3 a.m., I couldn't shut it off. It was a combination of I couldn't fall back asleep and I couldn't shut this tennis match off. Fantastic. This Carlos Alcaraz. Credit to Yannick Sinner, who really, he didn't necessarily look like he was on his best stuff, and it was still great stuff. And he took it right to the wire there and managed to, unfortunately, come out on the losing end for him. But, gave it an effort and looked like he was dead in the water a couple of times. Then it looked like he was in complete command, dead in the water again, and ends up losing a 5-set bloodbath that lasted till about 3 a.m. this morning, New York time. And how about, I mean, do you ever think that a Miami crowd could have stuck around till 3 a.m.
No.
with those kind of numbers, Lubie? I mean, it wasn't like the stadium was full anymore because there was a women's match first that Jessica Pegula, she didn't look like she had her best game going yesterday. It looked like she needed a shot of adrenaline at some point, but still managed to hang in there to get to a tiebreaker in the second set against Iga Swiatek, who's the number one player in the world, but has been showing vulnerability and looked like she could have been taken out right there by Pegula, except Pegula wasn't particularly razor sharp. Maybe that's because the other girl's game leaves you looking a little bit lame, but nonetheless, she made a lot of unforced errors in the first set and wasn't able to get to where most American tennis fans had hoped that we would finally have like a couple of Americans breaking through. Francis Tiafoe, excellent match as he made his way into the semifinals. So it's going to be Alcaraz and Tiafoe. And then the other match is going to produce. Isn't this one of those things where you're saying, like in the NBA, where they get to the semifinal round and you're saying, well, that's the real championship right there.
Yeah,
Whoever wins the East is going to win this thing. And then the West wins.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But this is a tough draw, man, to go for Tiafoe to now have to go against Alcaraz to get to the semis. And there's a guy named Casper Ruud who nobody ever heard of, but somehow is like number 2 or 3 in the world. And he's been playing well. I've seen him. He's Norwegian. Where, he's another guy that started out like Tiafoe. He started out only this was the equipment that was available to him readily to, hit the ball with a snowshoe as he was getting his tennis career started. And he's going against this Kachanov, who was victorious over Kyrgios, who was hurt, apparently, during that match and had lost some of his mobility and still went 5. So it seems like, whoever wins this Tiafoe match against Alcaraz is going to be the big favorite going into the final there, and it'll be a breakthrough for either guy. I mean, just tremendous. All of them, actually, because I don't think Ruud, I believe, has 0 majors, and I've never seen Kachanov. He's been to some semifinals, maybe. Might be. Big serving guy. And the other two, though, I mean, scramble like maniacs. You talk about 2 guys that fly around the court. So that should be a lot of fun to watch. All right, Dave Gurggles Gergely coming up here in just a second. Do we have Gurgs? Can we pop him in here for a second before we get to the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge? Because it's always good to see how good looking Dave Gurggles Gergely is. David, how are you, my friend?
Doing wonderful. I hope you enjoyed the tennis last night. When I hear these names in that tennis match, I'm not sure if they're the tennis players or if they are the commercials on the nightly news for different drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, don't take Alcaraz. It can have these side effects. Yeah. I'm confused between the 2 names.
Yeah, I got this rash on my neck. I was thinking about taking some Kachanov, but I don't know. Is it Kachanov? I'm not even sure how to pronounce this guy's name. But, a very likable guy, and he had that big win over Kyrgios in 5 sets. It's been sensational. 3 a.m., Dave. I'm watching this thing till 3 a.m. last night.
Wow.
And as sporting, Thriller and Manila type of stuff. I mean, it was drama right to the last shot. It was absolutely from bell to bell. One of the best matches I've ever seen. McEnroe declared it one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest. I don't know. Usually it's the thing that's you saw last that's going to hit in that category, but I mean, certainly qualified on all levels. I mean, just high quality stuff. All right, how you feeling about the questions for today? You got some brain busters for us?
We do. We've got some tough ones, I think, but it depends on the crowd. Sometimes I think they're tough and they get them right away. Sometimes I think they're easy and they don't get anything. But I like to play good defense. I'm predicting an under as 7 points.
All right, you took a pretty good guess on what I was going to make, like the final championship question. But since nobody knows what I'm talking about, when we got into, we had to rename the Mike Mayo Lunchbox Show Requiem for a Heavyweight because of what was going on with Mayo overeating, and now he's on salads and, pickle spears and all this stuff. And I don't know how long that's going to last. I hope it does last because we need Mayo to stick around. But so I started looking up, some of the things about the movie Requiem for a Heavyweight. And I did run that question by you and Lubie. Who was the actual professional wrestler that was in the final scene with Anthony Quinn as he finally concedes to go ahead and embarrass himself and destroy his legacy as a heavyweight boxer by going into professional wrestling in a setup match where he knows he's going to lose? And the answer was Haystacks Calhoun. All right.
Wow.
You took a pretty good guess, right? With Gorgeous George. Was that your guess?
Yeah.
Good one. Good one. And that could have easily, I mean, the theatrics and everything, that was an educated guess. But I don't know that you answered this one. Who was the boxer in the opening scene when Mountain Rivera was in a boxing match as the movie was getting underway? Who was the actual boxer that was in that opening scene?
I did send you a guess. I guessed Archie Moore, but that's
okay.
wrong.
Did I give you the answer? Because it was
no.
Give me the answer.
It was a young Cassius Clay was in the movie.
Oh wow!
This is the movie Requiem for a Heavyweight that also featured, and you'll love this because you like old school casts, right? Anthony Quinn, right? You had Jackie Gleason, Mickey Rooney, and a host of others that were like big time Hollywood stars, all in Requiem for a Heavyweight, originally scripted by
Elia Kazan. No.
Rod Serling.
Rod Serling. Rod Serling. That's right. Yeah. Then I have one for you.
Yeah.
I got one for you. The other night I watched the Rocky Graziano story. Somebody Up There Likes Me.
Oh yeah.
Paul Newman played a great role. The opening song, Somebody Up There Likes Me, was sung by whom? A fellow Italian.
Sonny and Cher. Dean Martin.
How about Perry Como?
Perry Como.
Wow.
The singing barber, yes.
That's the second time Como's been mentioned on this show in the 12 years Libby and I have been doing it. Segredo played golf with Perry Como one day.
And he was drinking the whole time.
He said he had like a little flask in there, like he was fuzzy color or something.
Lips.
Good.
All right, so you're feeling good about the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge? I know you feel good about Hialeah Park.
Yes.
Have you been down there recently? Because you were right there around the corner. I mean, I'm very jealous of your digs there in Miami Lakes. Because you're right around the corner from Hialeah Park, and that would be a extremely convenient place to go bet the ponies.
I did. As a matter of fact, I got there last week, I think, for one of my favorite places, a cameraman's dream, Kentucky Downs.
Oh, nice.
Bet those races. So, yeah. Do you really believe you're on some kind of foreign acid when you're watching the cameraman at Kentucky Downs? But believe me, and we also had a meeting.
They keep going like they're in the Hippodromo or something, where, horses in Chile, it looks like the finish line, but they just keep going until the right horse wins.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we had a meeting this past week with Larry Little Group, and they're booked here December 3rd, and Friday the 2nd will be our big party in the Citation Room at Miami Lakes. At Hialeah. Well,
nice.
We'll probably see you
Really talented.
in the Mustang.
Oh, no doubt, man. I always dig that. Any event they have in Hialeah is first class. In fact, everything they do in Hialeah Park is first class. From the champion simulcasting room to the poker room to the Vegas-style games that you can play in their dazzling new casino, which I say new. It's 9 years old. Is that unbelievable? You wouldn't know it, though, right?
It looks good.
I mean, you don't see like in other casinos where you see the players' bloodstains on the wall. It's not like that. It's not like walking into the old, Main Street gym in Los Angeles there. But this is just a great place. It's unbelievable the job they did. Obviously Hialeah is known with John Brunetti Sr. for overcoming a lot of obstacles and political red tape. They got through a lot of stuff and put this casino together. 9 years now. Just amazing. Players Rewards, I always dig that, right? When you go up to a kiosk, swipe your card, and go, wow, you got $50 in free play. Get a player's card. There's a lot of that going on in Hialeah Park. A very generous rewards program, commensurate with anything you'll find anywhere in the country. So get that player's card and sign up right away. Very convenient and cordial people there working at the window, and they will take care of you in fine fashion. You'll be on your way to having a great day or evening or night, all night long on Friday and Saturday night till 5 a.m. of playing in the beautiful casino at Hialeah Park. All right, dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070 if you'd like to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Dave's got all the questions. Louie's going to be taking your telephone calls, and I'll be attempting to keep score on about 2 hours of sleep. It was interesting, too, because my dog woke me up, and I'm sort of, it was after the first set, I had fallen asleep for like a half hour maybe, and then that was it. I ended up watching this thing till like 3 a.m. It was like the old days. I went out the other night, and I was in better shape coming back from going out to a bar at night than I was just from staying home and laying in bed.
Well, The rumor has it your dog woke you up with the racing form in his mouth, suggesting you bet Australia B.
Exactly.
No, he couldn't believe it. The grounds at these casinos, what they're worth right now. So just unbelievable. He's been looking into real estate deals involving various casino entities. Skippy dog, man. He's very entrepreneurial, Skippy. Thinks about money all the time. Most dogs think about food. This dog, money. All right, back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. The Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge gets underway. 954-417-0070 if you want to play the game. Lubie's got the Landlubber's gift certificate. He'll be there tonight conducting a live trivia competition.
Yes, sir.
We'll have our version of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge coming up in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 7:41. In style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1 mile and an 8. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, the Defo Show here on South Florida Live. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie. Dave Gurggles Gergely conducting the and mastering the festivities here as we get ready for the game of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Do want to say some hellos. We always appreciate participation on our chat line here. Julian always weighing in. I appreciate that. From Catholic Health Services, Stu Schiffman saying good morning, guys. Stu, always great. One of our biggest fans and promoters, Rosalina, who was at the UM game against Bethune-Cookman. Diehard sports fan, does a tremendous job helping us out by trying to make people aware that we're here. We're still kicking. The Worm, Alan is on board here. Anthony, our good friend, weighs in from time to time. Good to hear from him. And many, many others here. Hector saying that even though he says, I don't look like I got hit by a truck.
You don't look
last
bad.
night.
I wouldn't have known you were up that late. You look good.
Oh, all right. Thanks.
Like crap. I got a full night's sleep.
Shows you what a cosmetic industry this is, all right? That's a lot of filters, a lot of... No, it's just raw. I mean, The eyes, I think, might close before 9 o'clock. But it was exhilarating watching this stuff. I mean, as hard as I was telling myself, hey, Deef, why don't you just go to sleep for a while? I mean, it was hard to take your eyes off this because very compelling being a sports fan in general and a tennis fan in particular. All right, Gurggles, you're ready to go here. The number, 954-417-0070. Lubie is dangling a Landlubber's gift certificate, and also you have the distinction of being a winner here on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on South Florida Live. It's a great, great thing that you can take to your grave as a benchmark in your lifetime and a source of great pride. Does that sound like a lot of shit, Gurggles? It really does.
Wow.
All right, so you get a gift certificate at Landlubber's. If you're able to use it, that's even better. The rest of it, I don't know. That's kind of hypothetical.
I hope you do more with your life than.
You want to buy some documents? I have some secret nuclear documents pertaining to Iran. All right, here we go. With Dave Gurggles Gergely at the beginning of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, we start in the traditional fashion with Dave and some.
Easy baseball. This professional baseball player, after rejoining the Boston Red Sox, who 5 years previously had traded him to the Chicago White Sox, said, hey, every 5 years, a man's got to change his socks. What's that? Steve Lyons, Marty Allen, or Marty Girl?
All right, very good choices there. We go to the random phone scrambler, and we land on Ron. Ron, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, Ron. How are you?
Good morning, fellas. Let's go with A. And Gurgle.
Money.
We need you.
Yes, Ron.
We need you tonight at trivia.
Need him.
Come on out. Come on out to Landlubbers tonight for trivia.
Why have you been winning lately and they're upset?
They were second last week.
I am the William H. Macy in the cooler of your team.
You're Foo from Cambodia coming to the blackjack table with the pit boss.
Yes.
Everybody's got stacks of chips. You're ordering another round of drinks. Yeah, we're on for everybody. And then all of a sudden, here comes Foo. All right, one going for two.
All right, tennis, Ron, true or false? Nick Kyrgios, who Defo formerly mentioned, who smashed 2 rackets during his loss in the U.S. Open, has been linked romantically to European fashion model Claudia Jenko, who was in attendance that night and shown on camera a little bit horrified. True or false?
Let's go true.
No.
I can't believe you nailed somebody with a Claudia Jenko reference again.
Yeah, well, we haven't had it in a while, so that's it.
No, that was good.
That's false.
Because he is dating like some kind of model type, and has always had hot babes around him because chicks dig the bad boy, right? Actually, he comes off as a decent guy in press conferences and things like that. A very rational, well thought out guy, but what a maniac when he's out there on the courts. I'm not sure what he's like all the time in his personal life, but that was a good one. Claudia Jenko, again, baffling somebody here on the show. One going for 4, Ron.
All right, Ron, we got opening day of the NFL tonight, so we'll do one of those questions. Which of the following Super Bowl champions did not win the opening day game the following season? The 1985 Chicago Bears, the 2002 New England Patriots, the 2001 Baltimore Ravens, or the 1992 Dallas Cowboys?
Wow. Which team was on the chicken circuit?
Let's go with the Chicago Bears.
I'm going to say Patriots.
I'll say Cowboys.
That's it. The 92 Cowboys were beaten by the Redskins 35-10 while Emmitt Smith was holding out at the time.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Bills and the Rams tonight, Gurggles? Have you taken a look at that?
I'm going to watch it.
Okay.
I don't bet football. I don't bet football at all. I'll watch the game. All right. Luckily, it's on NBC tonight in addition to NFL Network. Because if it was on Amazon Prime, I'd be watching back-to-back editions of the Rockford Files. But I'll watch the game tonight.
Have you seen every episode of Gilligan's Island with that limited TV access that you had?
I'm waiting to see the one where the Globetrotters are on again. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Did you see the one where the professor? What's that? I was going to say where the professor makes a telephone out of a coconut.
Yes.
That was a good one. And then the people always wonder, how could he not be able to fix the hole in the boat?
Exactly. That was, yes.
And do you know who turned down the role of Gilligan?
I do, but I can't think of it. And
instead, he took the starring role in My Mother, the Car, Jerry Van Dyke, Dick Van Dyke's brother.
We did okay.
Well, that proved to be about the same level of brilliance as Pete Best quitting the Beatles because he didn't think they were going to make it.
Yeah, that's right.
Leading the way for
5
Ringo
point
Starr.
question.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Ron, 5 point question. Who is the only player in baseball to hit an inside the park home run in an all-star game?
Oh, geez.
Is that Ichiro Suzuki, Roberto Clemente, Lou Brock, or Toby Harrah?
Oh, God. Those choices are ridiculous.
Let's go Toby Harrah.
Had to be, right? What was he doing on the list?
Ichiro or Clemente are the two.
Brock?
Ichiro Suzuki in 2007.
Yeah, that's the one I would have gone with. Yeah.
Of course.
Toby Harrah is Yes, Toby Harrah is famous because him and Bump Wills hit back-to-back inside the park home runs. Only time ever. But that's another question for another day.
Boggling question there, Gurggles. All right. So far, you're on your game, Gurggles. Razor sharp. Ron is for 6 points here and a shot at the lead. Well, he'll have the lead, but a shot to stay there.
He didn't get that right.
I know, yeah, but he needs to. Was that the 5-pointer?
I missed it. Yeah, that was it.
That was it. Oh, okay. So he wiped out.
We did the NFL. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, right. He missed that one about the Cowboys. Okay.
I'll get with it. Up late last night?
I'm telling you, I'm seeing bugs here, as the great Joey Savage would say when I asked him how he was doing on his wagers. And son of Bob Savage, a longtime track caller, and of course a great guy, a great American, real tight with Patino. And I'd say, "Hey Joey, how you hitting him?" And he goes, "I'm seeing bugs." One of my favorite sayings I've ever heard around the racetrack. All right, that was Ron, and Ron doesn't tally a total worthy of being in the final, so that leaves us, wide open here to get there and establish a champion. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, and we're ready to roll with more players. 954-417-0070. If you'd like to play the game, you can give Lubie a call there. You'll probably see him answering the phone. 954-417-0070. Gurggles with Dynamite set. To open things up. Very, very difficult. I would have got them all wrong also, except for that true-false question. And of course, the first question, usually we get that one right, has the next set of questions ready to go.
All right. You'll like this one. Boxing. This fight manager, on another fighter's tendency to exaggerate, said, listen, if bullshit was poetry, Ray Boom Boom Mancini's name would be Shakespeare. What's that?
That's pretty sophisticated for a boxing guy. Who is that now?
Yes. Dennis Rappart, Dennis Leonard, Elmore Leonard, or Len Elmore.
All right. Let's roll the random phone scrambler, see what we have. I'm not sure this guy's going to be imploring you to come out to Landlubbers tonight to be part of this team. Chronic. Lenny, how are you?
What do you say, guys? Good morning, guys. BA.
He's great.
We always want Gurggles at the table, so he brings a good fun to the table.
That's true. He does bring a good vibe.
No right answers.
Yes. It may be a burial on the competition, but at least it's fun. Right?
All right. Hoops, Lenny, true or false? In an interview with Sports Illustrated, former UCLA and NBA great Bill Walton admitted one of the worst investments he ever made after signing his pro contract was in Earth shoes. True or false?
Nah, I'd say false.
That is false.
Yeah, that's false. That's false. Yep.
Remember when those were popular, Gurggles?
Yeah, sure.
Well, that was a real thing? Earth shoes?
Yeah, Earth shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, they were
to help
elevated
you,
in the back to the front.
Yeah, spiritually and health-wise, all kinds of stuff, right? I don't know. I mean, I was fooled by that stuff. I think I had a pair of Earth shoes when I lived in California. That was big. And, they were just expensive versions of other shoes, which it was, I don't know if they really had any benefit. All right, you have 2 now, Lenny, right? Going for 5.
All right.
Yes. All right, baseball, Lenny. Which player had the most triples in a year in which he hit 50 or more home runs?
Wow.
Albert Bell,
Oh, well, did you have
Ken
Bill
Griffey
James at the hotel last night? Where are you getting this stuff from? My God. Are the Elias people
Was that
sitting at Schuler's?
Albert Bell, Ken Griffey Jr., Brady Anderson, or Babe Ruth?
Wow.
Go with the Babe.
The Bambino.
Nice. Good for you. I would have gone Bell.
You would think unlikely to be legging out a lot of triples.
16 in 1921. Yep. Well, at Big Yankee Stadium, I think. I don't think the Monuments were there when he played, though. Wow, good one, Lenny.
Wow, that's good. Maybe they didn't even have fences back then. 1921.
That might have been it.
Guess what? Lenny's sitting on the verge of possibly doing sweeping the board here.
Gary's favorite.
Excuse me.
Lenny, hockey. This week at Sotheby's Auction House in New York, many Sports Illustrated or many sporting items are going to be auctioned off. One of them is the hockey stick used by Wayne Gretzky in a Ranger goalie uniform to score his final goal in his career in a 2-1 loss versus
Ooh, you should know this, Lenny.
Good one.
How did you know this?
Was that the Bruins, the Flyers, the Penguins, or the Canadiens?
Oh, good.
Wow.
I don't know.
Let's go with the Canadiens.
Great guess, but wrong.
Oh, man.
It was the 1999 Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins.
The Penguins.
Wow, Gurggles. I mean, during this week off, were you in the library or something? You're coming up with some beauties here today.
I had somebody's ready for last week, but unfortunately had a tournament. But
fantastic job. All right, Perdomo Cigars. I mean, I love this part of the show because we get that picture of you in the Maldives. And we get to pop that up.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got props today, too, which is even better. What do you have to say about these fine
You always
cigars?
get props when you go to Perdomo's. You get, there it is. That is I think that's a 10th anniversary Maduro that I had with me with a nice cold glass of ice cold beer. And I am sitting at the White Lace bar facing the sunset in the Maldives. 26 people on the whole island. You don't have to go to the Maldives. All you have to do is go to 5150 Northwest 167th Street in the Palmetto, the big Perdomo cigar sign outside. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go in there, see the lovely Lauren, who is Nick Jr.'s beautiful bride. This is a fourth generation of making cigars perfect one at a time. So no matter what this weekend or this week holds for you, you want to go out on the patio, you want to go out on the boat, you want to go to Hialeah Park and in between races, go out and sit in the grandstand. Why not light up a great Perdomo cigar? Go in there at Perdomo's, get a box. They've got boxes for sale, humidors. They've got everything you want. 305-627-6700, the number to call. www.perdomocigars.com to find a retailer near you that sells these great cigars. So if they ever put back the race from Kentucky Downs that was rained off, the $1 million race, my Perdomo cigar of the year is in there, a horse named Pixelate. Maybe in this Sunday if they squeeze that race back in when it was rained off at Kentucky Downs. But you're always a winner with a Perdomo cigar.
I love that picture. Can you pop that back up, Lubie, or is that a complicated endeavor?
It's easy.
Doesn't it look like he just benefited from a double disqualification by the stewards?
It looked like he just pulled him over.
And Gurggles' horse, who finished a non-menacing third, gets put up for the win at 1680.
He pulled such a move.
Right?
That face is great.
He has that look, man. A little bit of the penguin mixed into that look. Very good. All right, Dave Gurggles Gergely. We'll continue the trivia challenge.
Night, I think that night I was watching cricket till 3 a.m. That might be over.
But 3 a.m. there is like Tuesday here, so
exactly.
It's hard to make the equation. There were only 26 people on the island. I think 20 of them were on the wait staff there to serve.
Their big time is November to April, and there was like maybe 60 beautiful bungalows. We were one of 30 on Sunset side of it, and then there was some on the sunrise. But beautiful. Go to breakfast every day. Nice egg white omelet with a mango banana smoothie. Oh man, heaven! Our own concierge.
Did your cell phone work there?
It did, but I got the bill recently, and I think it was a little more than I expected.
Oh, those minutes that you spent watching the races from Saratoga?
No, just taking pictures and sending them to people. No, none of that. That's it.
Because that's what I figure. I mean, if there's no simulcasting, what would be the purpose of being on this island? All right, we'll come back with more of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Dial us up if you want to play, 954-417-0070. Lenny leading the pack here with 5 points. So right now he's in command, but that could change. That could all change in the next few minutes here on the program. So stick around on the Defo Show. Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. That is the great Dave Gurggles Gergely. He'll have more questions for you, and we'll come back with more of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on the Defo Show in a moment. Now that. 8 o'clock.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Francois Lebec. Good morning, Francois.
Listen to me one moment, please. You fat ass. Tired of the way you speak about the Canadians? We are good people. We are vacationing on the beach. We bring our dollars here, and you're always putting down the Canadians. And me, personally, am sick and tired of your crap. And you're not losing weight. I saw you the game. You're fat like a pig. The other thing that I would like to say is that you're going to throw out some baseball. I will be there personally to boo you out of the stadium. We come here as good people, friendly people, nice people. We don't need you to speak like you speak, Jeffrey, the fat ass the forest.
The Defo Show, featuring Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
That was under the heading of Love Letters from the North. When did the birds come back to town? You're around the hotel business there, Gurgs, with your business in Miami Lakes. When did the birds officially fly back in?
Yeah, we'll start seeing them on the golf course probably late October, I would guess, somewhere around that. And the one thing I say is the Canadians are the most respectful group of people I've ever seen on our golf course, as far as taking care of it, following the rules and regulations. Now they definitely want 2 beers for $1. That's no doubt about that. But as far as respecting the course,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And one day I'm out. I always go out and ride the course, say hello to everybody. One day I go out there, I see a guy with a Chicago Blackhawks shirt, and I said, "Oh, you a fan?" He goes, "I played for him, Dennis Savard."
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Hockey players are really into golf. Yeah.
Really very, very much. Yeah, they really are terrific.
Is it the slap shot motion? Because you wouldn't think that would work. I did some celebrity.
I think so. I mean, they're so used to that motion, and they're strong leg wise too. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But I'll take them on the golf course anytime. I would not like to see them on Hollywood Beach wearing thongs, but that's another matter.
When I was hanging around a little bit with Rosie Paymont, of course, of the famous Paymont brothers, at the Penalty Box Lounge there in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. And he had some charity golf event, and Bobby Hull was playing, and I put my money on Hull because of the slap shot thing. And he could golf, actually, Bobby Hull. So, a lot of golfers, a lot of hockey players, pretty good golfers. Now, my experience with French Canadians and respect for the rules and etiquette of the sport was not quite as favorable as yours might have been, because my recollection is playing tennis next to a bunch of people that are speaking in that Canadian accented French, and your ball slides over to their court, and the common courtesy would be to flip it right back to you, even stop their whatever they were doing if they were getting set to play a point. And instead, this guy just looks over and goes, Dunlop 4, and puts it in his pocket. and insisted it was theirs, that they were playing 3 other balls, 3 Penn 2s, and they just happened to have 1 Dunlop 4, which we had the other 2, and he insisted it was his. It was very Trumpian in the way that he approached it. I don't know. Are French Canadians in general on the MAGA circuit? Not sure. All right. We want to continue our Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Glad you guys tuned in. Glad you guys are taking part. 954-417-0070. We have the Chronic setting the pace there with 5 points. So easily an eclipsable total is on the board there as the championship number so far, or route to the championship. 954-417-0070 if you'd like to play the game. Dave Gurggles Gergely has all of the questions here, and in a game once again dedicated to see, if you said the memory of the Polyman, it would imply that he was no longer with us, but he's very much alive. And I told this to Frank Fiore the other day. I said, he's vowing to come back anytime soon. Frank will understand. No, he's coming back. I don't know. I think he is. I think he's going to make a big comeback here. But Dave, in the tradition of the Polyman, once again, conducting the ceremonies. And our next set of questions is with the great Dave.
College football. College football. A sign outside a church in this state put things in perspective. Remember, brethren, football is only a game. Spiritual things are eternal. Nevertheless, beat the hell out of Texas this weekend. Was it Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, or Mississippi?
I like when they put a little realism into religious renderings. All right, here's a random phone scrambler to determine our next player here, the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, and it lands on Mike. Mike, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. A
is correct. Right there in the game.
All right, Mike, baseball, true or false? You may remember this. The story's been out a while. After losing 12 games in a row, Joe Madden got a mohawk to spark his Angels team and planned to reveal it to them before their next game. Unfortunately, he was fired shortly before the game even occurred. Fast forward, he's been offered his own commercial with supercuts. True or false?
True.
Sounds false. Yeah.
That's false. Yeah.
That struck me as being a little far-fetched, but
yes.
Good job there, Gurggles. You had the caller fooled here on this one, Mike. So you have 1 going for 4, Michael.
All right, Michael. Let's go back to the NFL opening weekend. Which team beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 51-0 in Pittsburgh on opening day 1989?
Wow.
Was that
zip.
The Cincinnati Bengals, the Green Bay Packers, the Cleveland Browns, or the Baltimore Colts?
89.
The D, Colts.
Colts. No?
No, it was the Dog Pound Cleveland Browns beat them 51-0.
They were good in 1989?
Yes, they were.
Browns, yeah, that's, I mean.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, was that an era? Or no, with Bernie? Yeah.
Maybe Bernie Kosar, maybe?
Yeah, Kosar was with
Biner, and who was the other cat that was a running back that they had? They were dynamite together. Unbelievable.
Kevin Mitchell, Kevin something, right? Kevin something.
Yeah.
They were good. That's when they were really good.
51 zip. That's quite a pounding. All right, going for 6 points here, Mike. This will put you on top.
Mike, you should get this one, but let's see. Tennis, when Billie Jean King defeated Bobby Riggs in the Battle of the Sexes, even though King won in straight sets, Riggs made more money through a sponsorship from
who? That was an easy one.
Men's Warehouse, Lacoste, Wilson Rackets, or Sugar Daddy Candy?
Sugar Daddy.
Yeah, had to be.
Sure. Yeah,
right,
came out with a
good.
big Sugar Daddy candy bar. Yep. Well done.
You know what I love about that whole story? And supposedly he tanked the match against Billie Jean King because he had to pay off a bookie. That he owed, that's been out there for many years. I don't know if it's ever been confirmed by anybody, but that he was like $250 in the hole to some loan shark, and so he agreed to go ahead and he probably could have beaten Billie Jean King, but he decided to just tank it. And if you watch, I mean, there might be some elements there that are very Black Soxian, if you will.
He's not trying.
Yeah.
Well, it may or may not.
Years later, and I didn't even know about that stuff. And I'm like, why is the guy not like Billie Jean's killing herself? And he's like, and you can tell he's older, but still, I've seen older Defoe's in his 70s, and he tries to get the ball. I'm like, okay, so he's not even trying. I'm like, why? And then I found out after the whole I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, obviously.
Makes sense now, doesn't it?
Well, I may.
He
or
was
may
a
not
dead
have
man
told
if
you
he
the
wins.
story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bobby Riggs came to Miami Lakes at our athletic club to put on a clinic. We paid him $500, and he played against two of our ladies on that championship clay court, which you played on before.
Yeah, very nice
and
place.
we paid him the $500. He hit shots over the net that spun back, but he said, "I'll take the $500." But what I want to do is I want to do double or nothing against your golf pro. No strokes, but I get to throw the ball 7 times. No problem. So they get to the first par 3. The pro hits the ball on the green about 10 feet away. Riggs is on the fringe. Bobby Riggs picks up the pro's ball, throws it in the water. Now the pro's hitting 4. So needless to say, he doubled his money that way. He was the hustler. Yep.
That's great, man. You could see, a real, I guess, slick marketing guy too. I mean, with this guy with the sugar daddy thing, that was fantastic. And boy, did he master trash talking also. He was, I mean, he was Minnesota Fats Plus, man. This guy was fantastic. All right. You can dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. We have Mike with 6 points. The Chronic has 5. That's where we stand right now. And we have the Landlubber's gift certificate we're giving away. We will have Chris Landry on football on the precipice here, the eve of the NFL season kicking off tonight with a giant matchup. Could be, some people would have this as a Super Bowl preview, no? Rams, defending champion.
Yes, that's literally what
going against the Buffalo Bills, everybody's favorite to win the Super Bowl this year, including the odds makers. I think you only get 6-1 if you take the Buffalo Bills to win it all, which isn't really that fat of a price. But I don't know. For some reason, I think the Bills aren't going to do it. And I'm totally out on the Buccaneers. So you will have a Bills-Buccaneers Super Bowl. You can almost bank on that.
Guarantee it.
No, I'll give you a prop bet for tonight.
Okay.
I think you can get plus 200, and the under/over on interceptions by Stafford is 1/2. I would go over. I think he led the league last year with 17 interceptions thrown. So that's what
he throws one pick. You're a winner.
That would be that'd be a prop I would take tonight.
I like that. Over a hook on Matthew Stafford interceptions. Yeah, he's got the bomb elbow and everything.
One and a hook or a hook. One and a hook or a hook.
No,
just
hook.
A hook.
Not one and a hook.
Yeah, he's
just
gonna get
one pick does it. One pick.
Stafford's gonna get one.
Yeah,
he's gonna get one.
I would go over on that. So since it seems so easy, I would probably be inclined to go ahead and really unload on the under and figure he has the clean slate. Wow, what a game by Stafford. He's error prone, but this time he just really mastered managing the game. You're ready to blow your brains out at the end because this guy is a pick machine, handing them out like bar mitzvah invitations, and all of a sudden he doesn't throw a single pick in the entire game. All right, let's try and get one more in before we go to the finals here. And
okay.
We'll go ahead and fire up our next set of questions with Dave.
All right, hockey. This hockey player, after being named, this hockey player, after being named Player of the Week, uttered, "What happened? Was Wayne Gretzky sick? What's that? Larry Robinson, Flynn Robinson, Robinson Crusoe, or Enrique Caruso?"
All right, let's roll the scrambler here. Our good friend, we're always hoping he's in good health as well. Andy, you're on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Andy, how are you, my friend? Not well, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Jeez, it's Andy.
I'll go with Larry Robinson.
Did we have that right? Was it the great-grandmother of a friend of Ariana Grande that you were dating?
No. It's Ariana Grande's best friend's mother. And this girl is and the mother is gorgeous. I don't think she really likes me that much though.
All right.
But, when I'm coughing through the whole date, it's not so appetizing. But the daughter, who's her best friend, they grew up together in Boca, has 800,000 followers on Instagram or one of those things.
Well, because Grande, her two best friends that she grew up with are involved in like everything she does, so it makes sense that she would have a lot of followers.
Yeah, it's that girl. It's that girl that's famous. It's that girl that's famous for being the best friend.
Nice, Andy. Keep working.
But when she found out, when the And the mother found out what a degenerate I am.
Exactly. You couldn't hide it.
It probably never helps relationship. They like it at first, women. They do like it at first. It's exciting that you're like adventurous and a bad boy and you're a gambler. And then when they see how much money gets sucked out of your pocket every day, and you can never tell them the truth. Even now, you can't tell them the truth. I mean, you lose 300. Hey, how'd you do? I lost a stick. Like it was nothing.
When
You
I
shrug
got
it off.
the 7th pound Terry in the middle of chops, I guess she got nervous.
All right, you ready to roll here? We have 1 point for Randy, going for 2. Yeah.
You talk about Instagram followers. Before Instagram, the Polyman had like 50 followers, but it had nothing to do with Instagram. That's it.
More to do with the fact that there was never that Western Union never showed up in Reno. That was supposed to come with the 275. Yeah.
True or false golf. Believe it or not, Jordan Spieth said in a promotional video for FanDuel that he believes his Texas Longhorns will beat Justin Thomas's #1 Alabama 52-0 this Saturday. True or false?
He must have been on some.
Come on, the guy could be smoking crack and still playing golf. I'll say.
Say what now?
I say false.
False.
No,
that's true.
That's true. They did it in a commercial for FanDuel. Yep.
Did he have Titleist imprinted on his forehead from being hit in the head by a golf ball?
Rodney used to do when he was on the show with us. Like, what the fuck?
All right, one going for 4 here, Andy.
All right, Andy. Baseball. The New York Yankees have had 31 games this season where they hit 3 or more home runs.
Jesus.
The second most, this team has had 28 games with 3 or more home runs.
Golly.
And that team was who? The Dodgers, the Braves, the Twins, or the Mets?
Well, logic dictates it's the Dodgers, so I gotta get rid of them. I'll go with
least likely theory.
No, the other logical one, the Braves, who made their surge. The Braves, actually.
No, you're wrong.
All right, Andy. You fell a little bit short here.
All right, Andy.
Is your
Very
5
good job.
One more chance. Here we go.
5-pointer. 5-pointer. Come on, Andy. Bring it home.
He's got one more question. Baseball again, Andy.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, that was the 3-point question.
I'm losing track of
You
time.
up late last night?
Yeah. I was looking at Lubie. It looked like he was ready to cancel.
Yeah, all right. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Andy. All right.
All right.
This game is going to be played under protest. Yeah. Here we go.
Willie Mays. Still Willie Mays. Willie Mays and Bobby Bonds were the first 2 players to have 30 home runs and 30 stolen bases in the same season. Who was the third player to accomplish this feat? At least 30 home runs, at least 30 stolen bases. Was that Howard Johnson, Ricky Henderson, Kirby Puckett, or Roberto Clemente?
No.
I swear, I think Hojo did that. I'll go with Hojo.
Howard Johnson. Yes.
Howard Johnson. Well done.
You went from out of the picture here and came right back in a B-grade race and won the championship here at the dog track. All right, so Mike and Andy each had 6. They'll square off for the championship here in game today of the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. While Lubie gets that together, another word about Perdomo cigars here. And always great to bring out to Hialeah Park. Smoke them outside on that veranda bar there. Go back in, start punching in champions. Maybe a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar. Just a great spot to hang out. And Perdomo cigar is always a terrific thing to light up.
Yeah, you come out here to Miami Lakes Golf Club and you go into our bullpen, the snack bar, or the beverage cart girl out there selling. What do they have? Perdomo cigars. They've got the champagne, the 20th, the champagne edition, both in the Robusto and Churchill. Me personally, I like the Lot 23. Other people want the Robusto 20th anniversary with a Maduro wrapper, a little stronger. They got a cigar for everyone's taste, and they're easy to get to. 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the Palmetto, on the south side, right between 57th and 47th Avenue. Can't miss it. A little bit east of the Home Depot. 305-627-6700, the number to call. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. the time to go in there. And if you say, geez, I want to get one Saturday, what do I do? No problem. Go online, www.peromocigars.com to find the retailer or the tobacconist that sells them near you. So if you Pixelate gets in this Sunday at Kentucky Downs for the $1 million race, that's our Perdomo horse of the day. But you're always a winner with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
All right, Gurggles getting massive invites to join the Chronics tonight at Lubie's Landlubbers Shindig there. Great trivia competition with a zillion teams and terrific prizes, right? And we're going to send somebody to Landlubbers. Among our finalists here, Mike and Andy. And here's how it's going to work. You guys know the rules, veteran players, but for the uninitiated, or people that might want to play the game in the future, the way this goes, Gurggles is going to fire off a question. Call out your name if you want to answer. Nobody answers right away. We offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first chance, and we go back and forth until we have a winner. Gentlemen, good luck for the championship of our Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge on this fine Thursday. Here's Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Good luck, guys. ABA. Which of the following ABA players once appeared and won on the dating game?
Wow.
So which of the following ABA players was on the dating game and was selected as the bachelor? Was it
Here's a
Louis
choice.
Dampier, Rick Barry, Connie Hawkins, or Larry Miller?
Anybody?
Mike.
Yep.
Connie Hawkins.
Connie Hawkins. Incorrect. 3 left for Andy.
Andy, was it Louis Dampier, Rick Barry, or Larry Miller?
I'm going with Louis Dampier.
Dampier.
No.
2 left for Mike.
Mike, was it Rick Barry or Larry Miller?
Rick Barry.
Rick Barry.
Okay, so
Backdoor, man. Wow.
backdoor for-
Larry Miller, North Carolina, and from Catasauqua, Pennsylvania, right near my hometown of Allentown. Man, he was a good-looking 6'4" player. Played for North Carolina, helped them, and had a big career in the ABA as well.
Thanks for playing, gentlemen.
You would have been a perfect host on a dating game or any of that stuff. Newlywed game. Gurggles,
I'd like Price is Right, I think. I like where people can lose. I root against the people on the game show.
We're very much aware of that.
There's a diabolical game that
Yeah.
nobody could possibly win. I saw one of
Press
those
your luck,
games.
well.
They have, and this is now featured, I think, in casinos. I'm not sure if Hialeah has one of these, but it's like a what is that? Skill crane, where you have to pick up the equivalent of a bowling ball with very soft. I mean, they have these arms programmed. They're so loose they couldn't pick up a hair. If they were investigating a crime scene with this thing, and they never make it. But it's filled with money supposedly, the balls, and there's and it's like $5 a pop to take one shot of skill crane at this, and it's impossible, right? Having eaten several $1,000s at the aforementioned Penalty Box Lounge when I had to entertain a very young Jesse, and the only thing there that a kid could do was play skill crane, and I used to bring like 2 rolls of quarters with me, and come away with like one of those little things you stick your fingers in.
Yeah, Chinese handcuffs.
Chinese handcuffs.
Yes.
Yeah. That was big at south of the border. But yeah, that has to be the ultimate casino. Advantageous game, because I saw nobody pick a ball up and get it into the place where you would actually cash, and then if you did, it could be as low as $20, and you're spending $5 a throw. All right, Gurggles, you have a great time. Excellent job today. Great questions on the show, and always a pleasure, my friend. We'll light up a Perdomo in your honor, and have a great weekend.
All right, Jordan, have a great show with Chris Landry coming up next, and get some rest too, Defo.
We love you, Gertz.
Yeah. No, I'm starting to see stars. It's great. It's hit me. I couldn't even keep track of what was going on in the game there. That was. You wouldn't want me to be the scorekeeper or statistician.
I write everything down. I don't trust any of it. I have all of it.
All right, Chris Landry of LandryFootball.com going to be with us. He's always great, and we do have the NFL on tap here tonight. My fatigue is due to the 3 a.m. finish of the Sinner Alcaraz match. As sensational as any sporting event I've witnessed in terms of the competition, right down to the wire. Didn't know who was going to win until the final ball was struck. It didn't really start to, indications early on where it was going to be Alcaraz, maybe in a cakewalk. This Sinner kept hanging in there in impossible situations and coming up with big points. And the quality of play was off the chart. It was just absolutely fantastic. Great match. The crowd in New York, sensational. And now the winner, who was, probably what? You think Alcaraz got to sleep before 6 a.m. this morning? Now he has 1 day to recover, but doesn't that throw you out of whack? This is his second 5-setter in a night match that lasted until after 2 a.m. Lubie, do you think he's at a little disadvantage against Tiafoe, who played in the afternoon and, breezed in his match in 3 sets and is going to be well rested? So might be a live bet there. All the action is going to be on Alcaraz, but maybe Francis Tiafoe, and that'd be pretty unique, right? It'd be the first black player in the final at the U.S. Open since Arthur Ashe, I believe. Right? Maybe the only other player. Black
I was going to say
yeah.
African American, especially American. I don't know. Outside of Arthur Ashe, James Blake made some moves.
I don't think he ever made a final at the U.S.
Never got
Open.
far. He always flirted with it, but
yeah. There was like the great white hope, and that would have been James Blake was one of a few. I don't know that there were many great black hopes in tennis, right? And they never panned out, right? All of those guys like Looney Cooney and Dwayne Bobbitt. Oh, he's a great white hope. They fizzled out. As soon as they got into like real competition, that was it. Their head was sent into the third row with one shot, and it was all over the whole party. All right, we're coming back with more here. Don't forget about Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Wow, the weekend's on tap. A lot of people thinking, all right, the Labor Day weekend is over, and now what a beautiful time to make your plans to get down to the Keys, mile marker 104, Key Largo. Maybe, look, the heat has been just like a blast furnace here, even by the beach. But you go down there, it's a whole different element and different vibe. The food is great. The food and drink couldn't be any better. Amanda does a great job there, Amanda Kajemi, of managing this place. And it's always top-notch. You get great service as well. It's not one of those things where, you're at a bar in the Bahamas and the guy never turns around.
Exactly. Service is great, actually. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
It's not like they had 5 bartenders, but they just work it. They make
They're
sure
on top of it. Yeah.
It is true. And you never get like that stuff where like, hello. Water.
Or you're dying. Or, I had a situation the other night. I was in a bar, and the guy was not a bad guy or anything, but he just paid, like, no attention. He had his back to the Mustang and me for, like, the first 15 minutes we were sitting there.
That's annoying.
And, he's getting a beer for this guy who just walked up to the bar and this and this. And we're sitting there going to have, like, dinner and everything. And you're thinking, we see you're busy, and we understand all of that. But, turn around at one point and go, hey, I got you guys covered. Don't worry, I'm going to get right to you. I just got to clean up a couple of things over here if you don't mind.
Yep.
Acknowledgement, right?
Yeah.
But there's something to the service industry, and that's why it's so great. The Keys are in general pretty friendly, but they can be, dauntingly slow. No? Oh, did you guys want breakfast? Oh, we stopped serving it, right? You've been sitting there for 2 hours. Just some grits. You got anything? It's not like that at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, man. They're on top of it. It's not like they're, pushing or anything like that. You just feel very, very comfortable with the vibe there. It's fantastic. Right there on the Bayside. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. The pool's a great place to hang out. Cocktails are right on the money. And they have the sports bar there. Great place to watch football. Jimmy rolls around. Arbitrarily will show up there. And all of a sudden, he's shooting a breeze at the bar there going, can you believe they didn't run the ball there? Jimmy Johnson, man. Water sports are available, and of course you have access to all the other beautiful things that are happening there in Key Largo. But I found this, that while we were at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, I didn't want to leave the grounds. That was it. I only ventured out for the walk of life. And, at one point in time, I think we went to like a grocery store because we had this magnificent place we were staying right there on the grounds. Check into the accommodations. They're really, really something. And that's JimmyJohnson'sBigChill.com on the website. You're going to have a great time there. Bands playing all day, Saturday, Sunday, and other times during the week, including the owner himself, Larry Calvano, man. I'm surprised Jimmy hasn't gotten up there and belted out a couple of tunes, right? Could you see Jimmy having, some kind of, a really booming voice as a singer?
Country song, having some fun with a Heineken in his hand, for sure.
Could see him doing it. Maybe after several Heinekens. No, it's all great, man. It's just a fantastic place to be. Mile Marker 104, the Overseas Highway in Key Largo. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, and still looking forward. I saw John Kajemi and of course, Tommy Fox. So we, kind of consummated this deal. And so we're going to be going down there soon and having Jimmy on the show. Arrangements are already in the works.
We got to be on them about that.
To do that, yeah.
I'm super stoked for it, especially when the weather changes a little bit.
Yeah.
Be a whole nother level, too. We can do it like on the bar. By the bars.
Right. We don't necessarily want it to be Schwitz City early in the morning there, But it's great. And they do have the fans there by the bar. So, you're always comfortable at Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. We're coming back with more. Chris Landry going to talk, we have a big game on tap tonight.
Yeah.
Wow. And then a lot of stuff over the weekend. I guess this whole Zach Wilson thing turned out to be a farce. That he was going to be ready for opening day. Now he's going to be out for until at least week 4 for the Jets. So you're looking at Joe Flacco starting for the New York Jets. People that took the season total at under with the Jets, I don't know what it was, but it's more than 4 games. You probably, I don't know. Did they have any chance to improve? There was a lot of optimism naturally surrounding Joe Flacco. He's like the chief in Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes.
In terms of mobility, no? Just listen, Chief, stand under the basket there and don't move. Remember when Jack Nicholson and Cuckoo's Nest had him cherry picking? It was one of my favorite scenes ever involving the combination, the infiltration, the crossover of sports and art.
You don't want that in the NFL in 2022 unless you're Tom Brady behind a great offensive line.
Yeah.
You don't want that behind that offensive line who's already missing their best offensive lineman.
Who do the Jets open up with? Are they going to be forced to count Mississippi's under the mercy rule? You would think that the Jets with Flacco quarterbacking.
Oh, the Ravens. We have one of the top.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Football.
Maybe we can talk John Harbaugh into counting Mississippi's. Hey, John, give us a break here. We got Flacco. Why don't we just dig up George Bland at this point? At least he can kick field goals for us, too.
Oh, my God.
All right, Chris Landry going to discuss it all, man. This guy's dynamite. LandryFootball.com. Worthwhile to check that website out. And Chris is always great. Glad he's coming on the show here. Our thanks earlier this morning, Mike Norvell. Very, very nice of him to do that. 7 o'clock this morning. Mike Norvell, head coach of FSU, coming off the most exciting game. Yeah.
Not to cut you off, but I know the Cane fans and the Gator fans, maybe UCF too, are like, oh, Lubie with the nose. I'm trying. I'm not trying to blow anyone up or throw anyone under the bus. I've reached out to all the programs equally.
Yeah.
One program was a lot easier to communicate with than the others. So
they've always been great, Florida State.
I'm not trying to put anyone on blast. Look, we had Mick Hubert on just as often as we had Gino. Mick Hubert, it was annoying, was such a sweetheart that we ended up adoring him. I try with all the programs. So if you're a fan of the Gators or the Canes, I'm trying. I'd love to have Cristobal on. Cristobal loves Defo. He's like a Defo fan. So I'm trying to get him on. I'm trying. Billy Napier, I actually thought was a really good hire. I actually heard his interviews. I think he's a good interview. I'd love to have Gus Malzahn on. I'm trying. So don't think it was bias or any of that.
I think, before too much time passes, we'll probably be able to bring all of those people on the show. No?
I'm trying. Yeah. I'm doing my best. One
program. I never understood that, though. I mean, when, you have any media platform that's trying now, I mean, it's great because Florida State gets it, right? I mean, what does this do? If a kid or a parent hears Norvell and they're impressed, right? What are you trying to do? You're trying to get some kind of roots, get a little tentacle out there, and make sure you tie into the South Florida audience for recruiting. That was always a principle that was in play with coaches. I was always amazed when we did that high school football show where we would get coaches calling in like, 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday night or whatever night we were out there. I think it was Tuesday at Landlubbers. And here's Bielema when he was coaching Wisconsin. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do the show. This high school football show we were doing on a station that couldn't even be heard in the parking lot. I never let Sufreen go out to the car. Did you notice that? Alex Sufreen, who owns the joint, was like, it comes in everywhere. What are you talking about? This signal is booming. Anyway, they were always willing to. I mean, why would you be reluctant, especially if you were the University of Miami, to do anything? I mean, I don't know. Have you heard Cristobal on a lot of stuff? You said the amigo.
He doesn't.
Even though he was able to get one interview with him so far.
Look, I know he's new and he's trying to start stuff up. and he's trying to get stuff going. I don't judge any of the programs for how often or how little their coaches get out there. I'm just saying we now have had Norvell on after a huge game when it should be hard. And I get it. They have
good
a bye.
Timing on that. Yeah. He was the story of the weekend. Sure.
But, you know, and I get the Gators have a big one and the Canes, I guess, have a big one in 2 weeks. I understand. I'm not chiding anyone. I'm just saying if you're watching going, oh, Lubie got Norvell. Who gives a shit about Norvell? Well, I'm trying for all of them.
I wouldn't, be too sensitive about that.
No one said anything to me. Yeah. I mean, they're fine. I'm just saying, like, I know how it could look.
Yeah. No, I know that, you've reached, to, I hate to say the term reached out, but whatever. You've attempted to contact all of these people more than once. And, they're usually pretty cooperative. Depends on the circumstances, I guess. But, well, we'll see what happens there. The Gators would be the least likely.
We've never had
the Hubert thing we were doing directly through Mick Hubert. Other than that,
we've had a quarter. I think we had Golden on once. I don't know about Shannon, and that was your big gripe. Where Shannon didn't do any interviews.
Shannon, I had on the previous shows though.
We had Manny Diaz on. And
Diaz would come on once in a while.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Rick. I think we had on once because Rick sort of knew you, and I'm trying to get on Cristobal. And Cristobal is the one I know knows you because we had him on when he was at FIU. So it's not, and I get it. There's a lot going on. So
we'll see what happens. All right. I'm sure we'll be able to talk to these people. Anyway, it was good having Mike Norvell on. We want to get to Chris Landry, so we'll come back with Chris Landry talking about tonight's game and the National Football League season, and maybe we'll touch on a little of the college football stuff that's happened already and what's on tap for this weekend as well. That's coming up in a moment here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. Glad you guys are tuned in. Back in a moment with more. Now that
the time.
It's 8:36. In style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
To welcome, and I'm Jeff DeForest along with Mike Lubie Lubitz, 940 wins, 1230 The Zone. Chris Landry, this is a guy who knows his stuff, has his own scouting consulting firm, LandryFootball.com. Director also of the NFL Combine. Chris, a man of much distinction, welcome to the program.
You have people more and more today that are not good people running organizations. You guys had one in Mike Tannenbaum that knows very little about football. He's an attorney and cap guy, but when you have a guy like that gets involved, then maybe he listens to people, but you can have guys like that screw it up big time.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Great to be with you here. The Defo Show, South Florida Live. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. It's always a pleasure for us, and he was a recent guest on the program. And back by popular demand, the fans always go crazy when we announce his appearance here on the show. And you can follow his work, and it really is dynamite. All of this analysis and breakdowns and opinions and intuition that he shares on LandryFootball.com. We welcome Chris Landry to the program once again. Chris, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good, gentlemen. Excited to get the college football season underway and the NFL underway tonight. So all is good in the world, I would think, and hope you guys are doing well.
We're doing well. I mean, early this morning we started out talking to Mike Norvell. He was gracious enough to come on the program after. I don't know. You've been watching football forever. Have you seen a crazier finish to a ball game than that?
Well, yeah, I've seen some stuff in my time, but let's just say that's pretty, it's pretty weird. You know what's ironic? You guys wouldn't have any reason to remember this because it was a very innocuous game, but there was a game in the NFL, the Jags and the Saints. And the Saints are running that final play, they're down 7.
Right.
And, the whole lateral 12, 20 times. And they pull it off, and they go 70-some-odd yards and flip it back, toss it back, and they never work. This one did. They scored. Missed the extra point to tie the game.
Oh, and they did miss extra points.
that
NFL game?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this was Jim Haslett was the coach. This is pre-Sean Payton, so this is a while. You've had some things, but, a couple of things that jumped out at me. Great you guys had Mike on. Good win for him. Florida State controlled the game. Florida State was the better team in that stadium that night. But my goodness, and you want to be positive, but the coach in me comes out, and I'm sure Mike just went on this. Guys, what a mess at the end. They had several times to put that game away and didn't. And they were, here you are, you control the game, but you're lucky to win it because you let somebody else in it. I mean, my goodness, you come up empty. You're up by 7. I know you want to score. Get up by 10, particularly when you got a team that is struggling to move the football. Go up by 10. And then, my goodness, what are you doing? I can't believe that you call that it was some sort of mistake. You don't run a toss on goal line that just increases the chance of a fumble. They had that thing, wrapped up several times, and then they almost got themselves in overtime where you don't know what would have happened. And I think he won't probably admit this. Maybe he did with you guys. I don't know. But I think he's probably exhaling. I mean, I think he's excited, but I'm thinking he's in. Oh, God, because here's the thing about it. I hate to take Florida State fans down this path. What if it goes in overtime and they lose?
Yeah, they're losing.
What is the storyline then?
It's a disaster.
Because he's under the hot seat. It's difficult. You talk about lose a game that you had no business losing. They avoided that. So look, and here's the thing. Here's the positive though. You get it done. You got to learn from it. Learn why you win as opposed to losing. Just build off of that now, because I think when you're looking at the schedule, they've got a chance to get off to a pretty good start. Now, I didn't know the status, and we now know the status that Sam Hartman's going to be back for Wake Forest. So that game's a little bit different. But look, they've got a chance to get off to a pretty good start. And but I don't want to look ahead one at a time. But it's a good win for them. It's good to get a win. I wouldn't know that they drew it up that way or would want to do that.
No, and I do want to talk NFL with you because we didn't last week. We were lucky to have you on now 2 weeks in a row, but we didn't get to talk the NFL, and it does kickstart tonight. Rams, Bills, possible Super Bowl preview. So I definitely do want to get to that. But man, we talked to Norvell, and he's been honest. He said, look, and if you watch the replay, Ward's walking in. So the idea of the play made sense. The players executed in a certain sense, but he said it. The risk reward wasn't worth it. You just needed points there. There's no reason to try something like that. Just do a sneak, even kneel at that point, get the field goal, end the game. My biggest question wasn't even that, to be honest with you, because you're up 7 with 99 yards, right? And they had one timeout, minute 20. Fine. My thing is, when it comes to the college game and you have the clock stopping after every first down, does it make any sense to run prevent? I understand you don't want to be aggressive. I get it. You don't want to give it the big play. But full-on prevent where you're rushing 3 and you're giving them first downs, to me, you're saying, here, tie the game.
Yeah, well, I think they were trying to reason for the prevent. They didn't want the mistake where some guy and it's the quick score, because that's what happens if you lose that. So you tend to go in with, but I think it's not all or nothing. I think you can bring some pressure, but you got to be careful with the pressure because of the quarterback's legs.
Yes.
But you're right. You can eat up a lot of yards, and you can move it downfield where you can. And look, I think what happened is quarterback Jaden Daniels for LSU just gained a lot of confidence there on that drive because he's throwing against air. I mean, there's not much there. They're dropping 8, so there's no question that aided it. But look, I mean, here's the thing on the you're right. Just go back to that the toss wasn't the reason the play worked. It was the handoff would have been blocked the same way. So I agree with you there, but it doesn't even get to that if you take care of business offensively. And, you could have kneeled it down. You could have delayed scoring. But that's sometimes, you're a little bit concerned you want to go up. But I think that you just got to protect it. I mean, the most important thing is ball security. And in that situation, tossing it is very dangerous. And if it would have worked, it's still dangerous and you got away with it. But all really good points. So as a coach, what do? You go back and look at that and you say, guys, we got away with one. Okay, our guys outplayed, but we screwed this up for them, and we need to be better. And because I think that it didn't cost them this game, it could have. And again, that would have been devastating loss for them. It would have been a pull a rabbit out of a hat win for LSU. Yep. A game they really didn't deserve to win, but it was a game that Florida State deserved to win. But deserving to win means you got to finish. Yep. And that's the difference between, hey, a program's getting better, it looks better, but you got to know how to finish. And I would say that Florida State didn't finish that game. Okay. LSU kind of bumbled it, but they didn't finish that game. So I'm curious to see. They're going to have an embarrassed Louisville team. DC that's struggling on the offensive line. Wake Forest, go out and get you at least 2 or maybe 3 more wins out of the next 3 and build off of that. And you can put that in the rearview mirror. But right now you got to make sure that you don't dwell on it, but you have your teaching points from it. That's the way I look at it.
Chris Landry, ChrisLandryFootball.com, our guest here on the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz. I don't know if you remember the band Procol Harum, but Brian Kelly was a whiter shade of pale, for sure. He could have been on the album cover of the record that contained that song. And then, for those of us that went ahead and laid the 3 with LSU, I mean, can you imagine the psychological damage to a degenerate, Chris, when you get a series of miracles like the likes of which you could never even anticipate? The Red Sea parting wasn't this big, and you're going to have a shot there to redeem yourself and maybe even win the game, and certainly a shot at a push, and then all that goes up in smoke. As an extra point attempt gets blocked. I mean, devastating loss on my end in that regard. Anything else really stand out? I mean, the top teams were in there against cupcakes, so it's difficult to formulate any kind of opinion. We did see Georgia move up to number 2 over Ohio State. Notre Dame seemed to give them more of a challenge, at least in the first half, than a lot of people anticipated in that ball game. But and the Florida Gators had a big win over Utah, which was unanticipated, as Utah was favored going to the Swamp. Anything in particular that stood out to you from what essentially was the first week, basically week 1, following week 0 of the college football season?
Georgia and Alabama, 2 best teams in the country. Georgia, Alabama, Georgia. Ohio State's not far behind. I'm not worried about Ohio State's lack of explosiveness on offense because I know that that's going to turn around. They've got too many weapons. What I was impressed by is the thing that I feel that Ohio State has been the past few years is they've been a little bit not as physical, not as tough at the line of scrimmage as they normally have been. Well, they showed toughness and going down on a 6-minute drive against a physical Notre Dame team. And they won kind of a physical brawling type game, which I think is good for their psyche. I think they're in good shape. Those are the three teams, in my opinion, those are the only three teams that really can win the national championship. There's a lot of chalk in college football. Nobody surprised. Everybody says, who could be surprised and win the national title? It never happens. It just doesn't. So
yeah.
I think the issue is, who's the fourth best team? Is it Clemson? I think that, to me, there's a drop off a little bit, and then I think there's some really good teams. Florida, very impressed. You saw what Billy Napier's bringing, organization, toughness, and the quarterback Anthony Richardson. They don't win that game without AR, and they beat a good Utah team. Utah's not like loaded with talent. Utah is physical. They're well coached. They're just sound, and so was Florida. And I don't know. Like, I'm pretty certain and confident saying they don't win that game last year. With the way they were playing, I thought they showed mental toughness, physical toughness, confidence to win a game like that. And I'm excited to see what they'll do against Kentucky this week without Chris Rodriguez for the Wildcats. So that's kind of how I see the top of it, and a lot of good teams, but there's only those three I think that at this stage are capable of winning it, unless they come back to the pack due to catastrophic injuries and such.
All right, NFL tees it up tonight for the first time. Giant matchup here. Lubie mentioned this earlier. We've been saying this. A lot of people think the Bills actually are the favorites to win the Super Bowl with odds makers at 6-1. And they go on the road to face the Rams. Now, one of the common theories, I never actually do this, Chris, because I'm fueled by, like a lot of gamblers, self-sabotage. But, there was always a theory out there that if you bet all the home dogs in the NFL all season long, regardless of point spread, but any home team that was getting points, if you did it for the entire season, you would come out ahead in the end. Maybe not by a huge amount, but, it beats the usual weekly losing and going to the graveyard to meet the bookmaker. The Rams are a home dog tonight. And it takes tremendous courage, I think, to bet some of these other home dogs. But if you were going to start this thing, you would have to start tonight with the Rams. And I believe, I find it kind of odd that they're home underdogs to the Bills. I know everybody loves the Buffalo Bills, but are the Rams being somewhat overlooked as the defending Super Bowl champion, coming back with a roster that's essentially the same?
No, I don't think so. I think people respect the Rams. I think they just think that much of the Bills. Look, it's typical that the team that hosts the game, ever since we've gone to, hey, the team that won the Super Bowl will host opening night. The record overall is pretty good for the home team. They usually have a pretty good returning team, and they are at home, and there's a lot of emotion into that. But you're just playing a really good team. I'll say it this way. I think the Bills have the better roster and may have the better team this year, but the Rams are at home. So, that's kind of how I see it. I'm very curious. A little matchup I'm looking, as the Bills don't have many weaknesses, but the right side of the offensive line of the Bills, we'll see where they kind of move Aaron Donald around a little bit and kind of how they handle that. And Josh Allen's outstanding. They've got weapons. It's got an unbelievable secondary. They're very good defensively. The Bills, when you just do ranking the best rosters in the NFL, in fact, I did that very thing on LandryFootball.com. They're number one. I mean, they're right there in that same grade tier of the very top. And I did slot them number one. They just are really, really good, heading into the season, and we'll see how they can handle that health-wise. But tonight, I don't know. You're right. There's interesting, that stat of gambling. I don't gamble a whole lot, so I'm guessing the challenge is who has the discipline to do that every time, or do you get into those situations? Because I'm not a gambler. Do you get in that situation and say, I'm going to do it every time, but not this game. Because I really do this. And then you end up with not the percentage. So yeah, I think it's interesting. Good luck because I think this game is one that could be the Rams at home. But I do think overall, I think the Bills, believe it or not, may have a better chance overall during the season. That's how I see going in the season.
It does take a lot of courage to see the Jets over the Ravens getting however many points. Falcons winning against the Saints, Bears, and the 49ers, Lions, and the Eagles. My God. I mean, you really have to bet this on the blind if you're going to make this play. But it starts tonight. So if you're going to do it for the season, people, play the Rams tonight, which I kind of like the Rams at home in this ball game. Anyway, I think they're kind of, being a little bit dismissed. I think they were like 11 or 12 to 1 to win the Super Bowl again. And it struck me their front office did a good job in the offseason keeping that championship roster together.
Well, they did. They did. And again, I don't think it has anything to do with the Rams. It has to do with the immense respect for the Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rams are probably playing anybody else in the league. They're favorites, so I think people think that they're one of the favorites in the NFC. But I think also people think that the AFC is stronger at the top, and the team that is considered at the top by most people are the Bills. So I think that line is all about the Bills and nothing about the Rams, who I think is going to be favored in most games that they play this year.
Chris,
right.
so
Yeah,
when it comes to NFC, the Rams, by most people's estimation, are not the favorite. Now, I don't know what's changed in the last month. We've had some off-the-field stuff, but a lot of people presume the Bucs would just come right back. Super Bowl champions 2 years ago. We're right in the mix last year. But my thing is, and it's not just Brady leaving for 11 days, because a lot of people have said he's come back rejuvenated. He's going to be focused. He's Tom Brady. He's not doing this if he's not focused. My question is, the one thing that bothers Brady his entire career is offensive line issues. Now, they've had upwards of 3 guys banged up, and he has been very frustrated by the offensive line play. How do you see that affecting them, not only early, but throughout the season?
I think it could affect them a lot. I think it's a big question mark. In fact, it is the question mark for them because you mentioned that offensive line play is always important. Run game, pass protection. But as regard to this, pass protection is always important. When you got an immobile quarterback like Tom Brady, then it is even that much more important. In other words, the pass protection is more important for him than it would be for Lamar Jackson, obviously. But I think Tom would be on the need a clean pocket more than any other quarterback in the league. So, now he gets the ball out quickly. They can work the short pass game. You can run the football successfully. All those things can slow down pass rush, and you got from the neck up, the as good as you've ever had. So I think it could affect it. And quite frankly, I'm back and forth on, Bucs or Saints in that division because I think the Bucs they've got Brady, but it's the offensive line question, and I think the Saints probably have as good or better of an overall roster, but it's do you get the consistency out of Jameis Winston? So I think it's going to be interesting, and I think it's going to determine whether the Bucs are a real serious threat or not. I think the NFC is lacking that elite team. They don't have a Bills. They don't have a Chiefs. Heck, they don't even have a team that's as complete of a roster as the Chargers. And so I think you could make the case in terms of ranking rosters that you have to go down a couple of teams, maybe 3 teams before you get to the best team in the NFC and roster-wise. And I don't know who that is. I think there's some teams with some question marks that if they get answered in the positive, Bucs offensive line, the Saints quarterback, the Packers defense. I mean, who's going to emerge? Because there's not that favorite in the NFC like we see it in the AFC.
Any football fan that hasn't logged on to LandryFootball.com, do yourself a favor and repent and make amends for your foolishness because this is the man, Chris Landry. Dynamite stuff as always, Chris. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for sharing time with us. We always enjoy having you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Enjoyed the full-fledged onslaught of football this weekend.
Yes.
All right. Going to be a lot of fun. All right. Thanks so much, Chris. Chris Landry, ladies and gentlemen. Guy knows his stuff, man.
He's so great when it comes to football.
And well-versed in both college and the pros. So that was interesting. I don't know. Am I a fool here? Lubie, I think the Rams are as live a home dog
I think
as you're going to find. That line has moved slightly. It was 3. It's now 2.5. And this is coming out of my New York Post, which unfortunately, because I get this Bulldog edition, it's printed down here in South Florida, which doesn't have the color pictures, by the way. It makes a big difference, the color pictures, for the amount of money I'm paying for this rag. No, it's fantastic. Because it capsulizes everything for you, like right here in one move. You don't have to go flipping websites and all of this garbage and then read something that looks like the bottom of the eye chart on the DMV eye test. The Rams are 2.5 they're getting. Now, you do have to have some serious balls to bet a lot of these home dogs.
Well, the rest of them were stupid. Like, I mean, the spread helps you.
The Cowboys would be a live home dog, would they not, against the Buccaneers, getting 2.5
Micah
points?
Parsons a legit defensive player, and that offensive line is an issue. And Godwin might not be there, so Gronkowski. So that's feasible. But the Jets and the Bears,
Seahawks at home against Russell Wilson, returning with the Broncos. They're getting 6 and a hook in a
Broncos
tough place to play.
Team, but Russell Wilson's going to want to be out for blood.
That's Monday Night Football game. That's the big one with Joe Buck and Aikman debuting for ESPN. Cardinals, are they live against the Chiefs, getting 6? Or the Cardinals, they finished up so poorly last year.
I don't trust their defense.
After being dynamite. Remember, everybody thought they were the best team in football by a mile. They were like, oh, yeah, you got to be kidding me. And we kind of doubted it.
Yep.
They were winning every week, but I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with them. And then they fell apart, absolutely at the seams.
Well, the problem is they lost Chandler Jones, who was definitively their best defensive player. And then DeAndre Hopkins now has somewhat steroid or performance-enhancing crap that he's dealing with, so they're not going to have.
Could you play the Texans? I mean, getting 7 points at home against the Colts?
No.
See, that's the thing. You have to do this. It's like some people play like 3-card poker and stuff like that. They don't look at their cards. They're automatically in. There was a wild game that was very favorable to the house called Caribbean Stud Poker. You don't see it in casinos anymore. I think it was so criminal what they were doing that maybe some state organization came in and shut this down, right? But, because the dealer had to qualify and then, so you might have a dynamite hand and get like next to nothing for it. And then when you finally have a good hand that the dealer is capable of beating, of course, you get annihilated and the dealer has suffered no punishment in the house, no punishment at all for all of their losing hands that they've thrown into the crapper. It was insane. And a lot of people just played it on the blind. Okay. They were in on every hand. So do you have to do that? Do you ever do that? I mean, the other theory that starts before the season, and it would have to be then a bet on the Bills. Wow, there are conflicting theories here, Lubie. All right, in play, because the other theory is bet against the defending Super Bowl champion in every game against the spread the ensuing season. Bet against them under the auspices of they're always going to get an inflated spread. Now, I don't think that's the case here.
It's not true this game. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Usually the spread's ridiculous in the favor. They're a dog by what? Like, what is it, 6 or 7? Like, it's a decent spread for a team.
No,
that's
2 and a hook. They're down 2 and a hook, but they're home. I mean, so there's a 3-point consideration there. So essentially, the odds makers are saying that the Bills are 5 points better on paper than the Los Angeles Rams, who won the Super Bowl last year, and are in very favorable conditions playing in their home ballpark. No.
Well, they like for everyone they lost, they added like again. OBJ was a big part. First of all, the second half of the Super Bowl, he wasn't there, and they still won. They added Allen Robinson, one of the best receivers in football, and they lost Von Miller. Well, they went and got Bobby Wagner, one of the best all-around defensive players in football. So they're maybe more talented than they were when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it'll depend. Can Stafford be? I mean, he wasn't always somebody that you looked at as a Ram quarterback and said, "Wow, I mean, this guy, doesn't make any mistakes." But you said he was a pick machine. So the prop bet earlier, though, who gave us that one? Norvell?
No,
that was Gurggles.
It was Gurgs randomly came up with the
says that Stafford, if he throws one pick, you win. If you go over a hook on the interceptions by the Rams quarterback. All right, we're going to see you guys later on today, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, although my status for that show is somewhat tenuous right now, and I'm not sure what it is as we speak. So there's a likelihood I might be a scratch on that thing because of a previous commitment that I made, not knowing we were going to be running out on the road today for the Mike Mayo Show, which will be from Shenanigans East side.
Shenanigans East.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's more wings for you if I don't make it there, but I hope to do it. And then, of course, our Believe podcast, we're going to be talking a little football on our Believe podcast today with a gentleman from the Monday Morning Quarterback. Of course, it's Peter King's thing, staff writer Connor Orr. So check that out later on. You want some more football analysis. We have to run. We'll see you next time. Thanks to Dave Gurggles Gergely, Hialeah Park. The Trivia Challenge was a lot of fun today. Thanks for participating. Love all the comments on the chat line. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
Thank you, Johnny. It's 9:03.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.